So with that, I'm Julia Devine. We'll go ahead and get started. And my business partner, Catalina Parker, is also on the call, and Tamara, who's part of our support team. And we're also lucky enough to have a few people who are in the mentorship program on the call as well. So we have Andrew and Terry, and Leanne might be here as well. That's the three I believe are joining today. So maybe they might be able to answer some questions later on as well about the program. So we're all friends here. Anyway, and just a note, guys, if my Wi-Fi cuts out, I do apologize. I'm not bailing on you early, but we're having a little Wi-Fi trouble here today. So with that, we'll jump into the presentation. So this is just going to be talking about launching and growing your consulting business. Our goal today is really simple. We know some of you have met with Tamara already. Maybe you've watched some of our webinars. Maybe you're on our email list. You think our emails are kind of funny or interesting, and you want to learn more about this consulting thing. So we want to talk to you about our consulting career path, how we got here, and then the mentorship program, which has been running for about a year now, and what we do to support consultants like you guys. So we'll jump over to the next slide. Just an agenda, just to help you guys set expectations. We're going to run through a quick poll with you all. Then we'll talk about our consulting journey, how we made the transition from nonprofit employees to full-time consultants, which we are now. Then we'll open the floor up to questions, go through kind of the common questions that we get a lot. And then we'll give you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes tour of the mentorship program.
Okay, so I just put up the poll. Hopefully you guys can see. We've never done a Zoom poll before, so this will be interesting to test it out. But I think there are two. Yeah, there they are, two. Perfect. All right, cool. Y'all are filling it in. Thank you.
Awesome. We'll give you guys a minute there. All right, 13 out of 21. A few people more want to answer. Cool. All right. So it seems like a lot of you are kind of in this early stage. You haven't started yet. You're exploring. I'm assuming most of you work in nonprofits. Not everyone that we talk to actually works at a nonprofit. Some of them are in other fields and looking to transition in. I'm curious if some of you are maybe development people. I was a development director beforehand. I know a lot of people are trying to go off on their own. Okay. And I see we have a few people as well who've already recently started their consulting business. All right, awesome. Great. Yeah, that's about what we've seen. We do have people in our program who are at all stages. Just to give you guys an idea, it's not everyone who's like just starting out from the beginning. We've had people come in who already have had a business for a year or several years, and there's benefits to really joining at any point because you're going to be getting the latest information on how to optimize your business and how to grow. So it's cool that we have a mix here as well. That's nice. All right, awesome, Kat. You want to try moving to the next one? Let's see. Oh, Amy, thanks for your message. No worries. All right, cool. So if I hit stop sharing the poll and share results. Catalina, am I controlling this or are you?
I was. Here we go. Do you see that? Share results.
Do we want to move to the second poll?
Yeah, this is it here. Do you see it? It's so we asked what's the biggest challenge in your business right now, and it looks like most people are saying where to start is the biggest challenge, followed by building a client base is the second challenge. Super common.
Great. Yeah. Not knowing where to start is, we'll talk about that when we get to our journey. Cool.
All right, let's move on. Thank you for participating, guys. That helps us gauge the room.
Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to take you guys a little bit down memory lane for us back to 2021 when Catalina and I were working full-time in nonprofits. So you can see a picture of me there. I was working the annual gala, and Catalina is there giving a presentation. So I was a development director. I actually started out as a grant writer right after college and I worked my way up to development director. a lot of responsibility pretty early on in my career. That was a lot of weight on my shoulders, a lot of pressure. And I knew that it wasn't something that I really wanted to do long term, but I loved working with nonprofits. And Catalina was working with a private grant making foundation out in Pittsburgh. And she was sort of feeling the same way. And not everyone knows this, but Catalina was actually my first boss when I was in college. I was her intern in the development program. So we had been friends for a while and stayed in touch. In 2021, I had just quit my job and started a master's certificate. And Catalina had just had her first baby. I was actually out shopping for my Christmas tree, December of 2021, when she texted me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I heard you quit your job. I'm quitting mine. I know someone who's looking for some help. Do you want to maybe start a business with me?" So 6 weeks later, knowing pretty much nothing, but having nothing to lose, we decided, like, why not? We'll just start this LLC, see what we can do. And we started in January of 2022. And someone's asking where in Pittsburgh, Catalina. I don't know if you saw that.
We lived in the Strip District for the first couple years, and then after that, bought a house in Edgewood. Pittsburgh was great. I mean, we moved there. I was recruited after working for a nonprofit doing digital marketing for this foundation. Never done grant making before, but they were looking for young blood. And yeah, I mean, it was just a really cool experience. This picture is me at a ribbon cutting, giving a speech for that. Just a really incredible experience. And Pittsburgh is a really cool town. I don't know if you're from there or whoever. Oh, I see, George. You said you grew up there. Where in Pittsburgh?
North Hills area.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Love that area. We have friends there still. Okay, moving forward. Go ahead, Julia.
So you can see here, not our first logo. Our first logo was terrible. This is actually the first time we paid to get logos done and professional pictures. So our business was born in January of 2022. We took on one client and we proceeded to build from there. So we were talking before about sharing maybe with you guys some of the common mistakes we made. And Catalina actually made a funny LinkedIn post yesterday talking about the first thing we did, which was to make a list of all of the things we knew how to do between the two of us for nonprofits. And it's like 35 things, like just everything from CRMs to fundraising to digital marketing, social media marketing. And we put this all up on a website and thought this was going to get us clients. And it did not, because that is not how you build a business. But it's just funny to look back at the mistakes we made early on. And some of you can probably relate to that as you're deciding what to offer in your services. So that's what we were figuring out in that first 6 month period or so, is what we're going to offer, what kind of nonprofits are we going to serve, and how are we going to build a business that's sustainable to replace our full-time jobs. So just move to the next slide. And just to be really transparent with you guys here, because we get a lot of questions about, how soon will I start making money? When will I land clients? What does the revenue look like? How will I replace my full-time income? So I just want to show you what it looked like in that first 2 year period as we were building up. We each put in about $1,500, a general operating contract written up by a lawyer. We got insurance, just a couple like minor expenses to start, but relatively none in the beginning. And then you can see here the revenue with our first client, adding in a second client in the summer. And then by December of 2022, so just 12 months in, we hit our first $28,000 a month. So that was with two of us working together. So just to give you a sense of like what that arc looks like in the first month, once we were both going all in on the business. At that time, Catalina hadn't actually, she had gone part-time working somewhere else. So like not even having two people working full-time, we were able to get to a 20K a month. Just to give you that picture, we were relatively young, we had relatively small networks, and we did not know what we were doing. So if you guys are in a better position than that, then I think you would be fine. And
And
then you
this
can,
was using, sorry, we did not do like any social marketing. I know a lot of people talk about like, do I need to post on LinkedIn or like all of this was word of mouth referrals, how we got this far.
And then you can see here the second year, we started to hit 20K months again. And that's where we've been pretty much consistently between 15 and 20K in our consulting work. There's a picture of me. I was actually able to move after the first year in business. I spent last summer in Italy with my husband. He's also working remotely as a freelancer. And this was something that came off of getting married in COVID and having to basically be locked down for 2 years, spending a lot of time taking care of my grandparents who were elderly at the time. So being able to have my own business, both of us were no longer working for companies, and being able to move to Italy. We spent a month in Rome, a month in Naples, and a month in Florence. And that's me invoicing for that month $23,000 from my terrace in Rome, which I miss dearly. So just to give you guys an idea, not saying you all have to pack up and move to Europe, but there's options once you are able to work on your own. So yeah, I miss the terrace a lot. So yeah, so that's just a screenshot of those numbers for you all, if it's helpful. So now we really want to open it up to you guys, some questions. Hopefully you have some. You can post them in the chat. You can jump in and just ask them and we can chat with you. We put up a couple on the screen here. We call these the 5 stages of grief for the first year of consulting. Basically, where do I start? Trying to Google everything, find like free resources to teach you how to build a business. What services do I offer? Going back to that question of listing out everything you know how to do. Then, of course, where do I find clients? How will I land my first client? Then getting into that business operations piece. How do I actually run this sustainably, manage clients, etc. And then how do I build a network and build a community when I'm all on my own? I'm a solo entrepreneur. So those are the 5 core questions we get all the time. If any of those resonate with you, let us know. We can answer them or talk to you about them. Or if you have your own question, please feel free to jump in.
We have a question in the chat that is, are there people that specialize in doing business development for nonprofit consultants?
You mean like in our program or just in general?
Maybe George, you can elaborate on that question.
I guess just in general, if people don't have a specialty niche that they want to provide consulting services, do people do business development for other people who have niche businesses that serve nonprofits?
So, I mean, I guess the mentorship program would be sort of that, like offering business development to nonprofit consultants. Are you asking, are there other programs like ours or?
No, or they're just people that exist that do business development for nonprofit consultants to reach out to nonprofits to offer that consulting service, as opposed to the nonprofit consultant doing the business development themselves.
I see what you're saying. I don't know. I know we've worked with, yeah, the sales, sure. So there have been different programs out there. There was something called the Nonprofit Pond at some point, and it's shut down now. It was sort of a startup, and what it was meant to do was connect nonprofits with consultants. It was sort of like Airbnb, where you would both get on. It's a platform, and you have the nonprofit saying, "Hey, I need help with fundraising," and you have a fundraising consultant on there. They would connect, and hopefully they would hire that consultant. Those platforms, there's another one called Philanthroforce, another one called Prozul, which haven't really seen a ton of success, because what happens typically in those cases are like all the consultants go to the platform, but the nonprofits don't really know about them, so they don't get on the platform. So it doesn't work super well. But we were looking for that too. That was something that in the beginning we were like, oh, we need to find a place where all the nonprofits are listed and we can just apply. It doesn't really work like that. It would be more about building your own audience. What we teach in the program is really how to do it for yourself, how to bring people to you, rather than you having inbound leads coming onto your email list, talking about building that way so you have your own stable of a network that you can reach out to. There's really organic ways of doing that don't require you to like invest $10,000 in advertising and an expensive website and all of that. It's actually a lot more organic than you'd think. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. There are a lot of partnerships available. There's a lot of nonprofit tech platforms out there. So early on, we were doing a lot of CRM support, helping nonprofits migrate. So we reached out to a lot of those CRMs, got on their partner directories, made partnerships with them that way. So it's once you know what you want to offer, it becomes a little bit easier in that regard to say, okay, now I know who to reach out to. Now I know who to make partnerships with. Who do I want to attract into my network? But I don't know off the top of my head any consultants who do that, although I'm sure they exist.
Yeah, I'll jump in too. I love that question, George, because I talk to a lot of folks just like you who are looking to get into consulting, or they're already in consulting and they're just frankly stuck, right? 99% of them hate the sales part, or they hate trying to ask for business, or how do I market myself? And we've had people say, I wish there was like a brokerage where we could have like a broker. And I was like, yeah. So I think that is also could be a great opportunity for a niche for yourself or someone else. I think that would be really popular to have kind of an outsourcing of soliciting clients, and you guys actually have the skill as the consultant. So that's one thing that's a misconception is a lot of times people think that everybody, all the nonprofits want fundraisers. That couldn't be further from the truth. We have very interesting niches that are in our program, but also people that I just know that are very specialized, and it's one-stop shop with one item. That is a great referral. So yeah, great question.
Thank you.
There's actually, and I'm no Catalina's thinking this in her head right now, but something that we are considering rolling out this year as the program grows is sort of second piece of the mentorship community where nonprofits would be able to join and connect with the consultants in our program. So that is something on our mind that we're thinking about helping to facilitate that within our program, but it does not exist yet. So I won't say too much more about it, but yeah, that is something we've got on our mind. Any other questions?
I have another question. I do data analytics, surveys, and custom reporting for nonprofits. I'm finding it's more important to partner with other consultants for clients than direct connections to clients. What would you recommend for networking/business development?
Yeah, so that's super important. That was a game changer for us when we realized that it was great that Catalina and I were sitting there on Zoom with each other every day and talking about what we were going to offer people. But until we actually started getting out there and talking to other people who were in the consulting space or partnering with the CRMs, for instance, the tech companies, service providers, that was when it really expanded our horizons on just understanding the market need. So we talk in the program, we have the whole business fundamentals piece in the program in your first 6 weeks of doing these informational interviews. And there's a certain way that you can do them to reach out to people, understand what their problems are. And we actually teach you how to sort of reverse engineer what they're saying to you to help you develop your services in a way that meets what people are looking for. Catalina could speak to her experience with LinkedIn. Like we said, the first year, we really didn't do any social media marketing, but Catalina has invested a lot of time in the last 6 months just being very present on her LinkedIn. And she's connected with, I mean, it's got to be close to 1,000 new people by now that she's brought into her network. She's having meetings every week. She dedicates time to that. In the beginning, we thought it was a lot about joining like free Facebook groups and free Slack channels and just trying to go where the consultants were, which is great if they're active communities or if they have an express purpose. But a lot of times that's not really as helpful as you think it's going to be versus just building your own network. Catalina, I don't know if you wanted to jump in on that at all.
Yeah, so we have spent a lot of time building relationships with consultants for the referral piece, as you mentioned, Sigrid, because that's, I mean, the nonprofits already have the trust of said consultant, and we have found that to be a very valuable way to get new business. We have people in our mentorship program who do partner together. They offer complementary services and refer people to each other that way. So there are different ways to go. It's really like what the person feels comfortable with. Some people like doing, outbound messages through LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever. Some people hate that stuff and they'd rather do like one-on-one FaceTime calls with people. It really just depends what you're looking for and do that. Like I remember in the beginning, we would just kind of do what everybody else was doing because we thought, oh, we have to do that. But then we quickly realized like, that's how you burn yourself out. You have to really be selective and really pick a couple of different platforms to market yourself. You don't have to do everything.
Yeah. I don't have time for everything.
Yeah.
I think
totally
it's that return on effort, right? Is constantly the thought. Like I've been self-employed or a consultant contractor for 17 out of 24 years, the last 24 years, but kind of new-ish to fundraising and to nonprofits in the last couple of years, and finding it's so much who you know and who trusts, right? As well as sharing, like doing anything that's data analytics or custom reporting. a lot of the decision makers in the client side, they want that with something else, like more with a development strategy, with something, with a legacy planning program attached to it, which is not my areas of expertise. So that's where I'm struggling, to be totally honest, to this group, is to connect to the people where the package has more value than the separate entities almost.
Yep. Yep. And then we're seeing a lot more of that now, not just in our program, but just other people that we know holistically who are joining forces and saying, hey, I know how to do, kind of the annual fund or help them with the development program. Hey, I specialize in plan giving. Do we want to package this together and we'll just white label it, or I'll, put it under my business. We see a lot of people doing that, and it's really smart, because even Catalina and I'm a little bit more into the data, the database, the fundraising. Catalina does a lot more on the marketing side. So even just the two of us working together on the business has been a big help in moving as quickly as we've been able to, because you're sharing that burden and you're not having to learn everything from scratch yourself. So yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And we've been seeing that in the mentorship program as well, because we have the community aspect. A lot of our people are starting to connect and say, hey, I offer this, you offer this, want to set up a referral, or do we want to kind of work out a partnership package? So I think that's becoming increasingly common.
And also too, is I think the industry is starting to shift where it's not about consultants or competitors and there's competition. Even I'm noticing you guys have seen fractional work happening. You've seen, where people are, it's cheaper for a nonprofit to hire a consultant than it is to hire someone full-time on their payroll. We see that, right? I mean, just doing basic math and budgeting. So we're finding that the smarter partners are the ones that are realizing that it's, again, kind of to your point, Kat, about just the marriage together is a lot stronger than, people competing and not withholding information. So we're seeing a lot more of that, and that will definitely have more value to the nonprofit, which is all the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah.
Can I just say something super quick?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've been in the program since it was probably the early part of the first quarter of this year, and I'm kind of just laughing as I'm watching the chat on the side. This is really the essence of the mentorship program. While there is the curriculum and the class design and all of that, it is really exactly what we're doing right now. We're all coming from different backgrounds and bouncing ideas off of each other. And so I think it's just important because it isn't just a class, it isn't just, one-sided. There's a lot of what we're discussing right now that is just baked into the program.
Thank you, Andrew.
We love Andrew. He's super smart. Anything accounting related, he's your man.
But we've got everyone in the program is awesome, and so that's what ends up happening is that yes, we have the backdrop of what we're discussing. They do a really good job of fresh material, and there's just a nice balance of also overlap so that there's this continuity flow, and you can also join at any point in time. But you've got people, just like I'm hearing these questions that are in the group, everyone comes at it from different experiences, different expertise, and you walk away with just some great insights from a lot of experienced individuals, and frankly, that's what's keeping me in the program. So it's just important because it literally what we're doing right now is what we do in the program.
Andrew, we have another question in the chat. The question is, have you experienced consulting to be one-offs, letter campaigns, end of year campaigns, etc., or do you find consulting to be more long-term, 12-month contract to help them direct their development efforts?
Yeah, so that's the fun part about it, is once you start digging in and actually thinking about how to productize and structure your services, there's a lot of choice there depending on what you want to offer. So I like to give a couple of examples of people, so we've done both. We've done hourly, which I don't recommend once you get smart enough to not do that anymore. Then there's retainer or project-based. And then we also have these smaller sort of entry-level engagements that you see people doing. So from my business school days, you can be Walmart or you can be Nordstrom. Both are very successful businesses. They have very different models. Walmart is the low ticket budget option and they're depending on volume. Nordstrom is depending on luxury, high quality sales, but a smaller pool of people. So when you are thinking about your services and what you might see, we've worked with someone who helps consultants and just helps people in general optimize their LinkedIn page. She charges $400. She audits your LinkedIn. It takes her, maybe an hour. She says she does 15 a week. And that's like one of her core services that she offers. She also has an upsell to more of a project-based VIP day, which is I think $1,500. And then she has longer term engagements from there. So her core offer that she's doing 15 a week are these 1 hour audits, maybe 30-minute audit of someone's LinkedIn page, $400. We have other people that we know who maybe only take on 3 clients at a time, 2 or 3 at a time, but they're charging somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 a month. So those are longer term engagements. You're coming in on either a project or a retainer basis, maybe a fractional basis. And I've seen both be equally as successful. So we've had our business being successful at certain points where we have these high dollar retainer clients. And then we've had some times where it's these smaller projects coming in that are filling in the gaps in different ways. So obviously that leads to how you like to work. If you like to work with a lot of people doing these quick jobs, that might be excellent for you. If you like to really dig in, get to know a client, work with them, come to meetings with them, be more of a contractor, you might prefer to do these larger long-term engagements. So a lot of choice there, a lot of options to be creative. And we talk a lot about that in the program, sort of building your service ladder in a way that makes sense to move people into your portfolio and then keep them as repeating clients.
All right, we have another question. Jennifer appreciated, Andrew, your insight as someone who's currently in the program. She said she has a difficult time investing in herself. Can y'all help me understand my return on investment with this mentorship program?
Yeah. There's a lot of pieces to it. When we started developing it, we looked at what was out there in the market, and there were a lot of sort of 30-day boot camps, 6-week startup programs, online courses. There's different pieces, and we thought, all of those are great on their own, but they don't give you, each one lacks something important. So in this program, what we've done is we've really developed it to have this trifecta of the online on-demand learning. So you're going at your own pace. And I think there's over 30 hours of content in there at this point that you can go through. And they each come with actionable worksheets and steps. And the idea isn't just to give you busy work, but rather to take you through evolutions in your business and projects that you have to do in your business to build it. So we've done workshops before. Was it last week, Andrew, or 2 weeks ago? We were developing lead magnets on the call. We were writing your sales page copy together as a group. So you're getting like that live, or you're getting that recorded if you missed the live session. So you're getting that, just the actual business knowledge, which we thought was the first and most important thing most people don't have when they're going into consulting. They know their skill, but they don't really know how to run a business. So it's the business fundamentals, marketing, sales. Then you have the networking piece, which people are saying, how do I build a business? Well, you need a network. So we're building a network within the mentorship as well. So you're going to be connecting with people who you can partner with, approach clients together with, and so on. And then you have the community, the network, and I have a third word. What's the word I'm missing, Catalina?
Personalized mentorship, connections, strategy.
Yes.
I mean, most of us have gone to college. Why did you spend $130,000, whatever it is, for the 4 years? It's to walk away with a lot, right? With your degree, but it's connections, it's your sororities, it's, that's so forth. But this is just a lot cheaper and shorter.
Yeah. So that's the idea too. Go ahead.
In terms of an actual ROI, it depends. I mean, we have some students one woman, she got her first client in the first 30 days of joining the mentorship. It really depends on what effort you want to put in as well, I would say. But those are some examples. And we just rolled out like a timeline document to help people keep track of their progress month by month and help you stay accountable too.
But at minimum, if you're landing one client, that's worth more than, I don't know if we've shared the pricing yet, but it's $275 a month, so it's as long as you're landing that, which we're confident that you can absolutely do that once your business is up and running, which could be as soon as 30 days, if not already. Then you've got a built-in business library, built-in network and community, and then support system. I also have office hours every Wednesday, so you can actually book 30-minute calls with me and we can just talk through your business. Most of running this business is me and Catalina sitting on Zoom together, like, knocking our brains together to figure things out. So we realize people who are on their own don't have that. That's extremely overwhelming and kind of isolating. So that, I think, is probably the biggest secret ROI, is just having those people there when you're like, hey, I really need some feedback. Always right there for you 24/7 to jump in the chat.
And we have,
Oh, I was going to say.
oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
when you're done, Catalina, I wouldn't mind, because I struggled with this myself. So you finish what you're saying, but I wouldn't mind just kind of adding to what you guys said for Jennifer.
Yeah, Jennifer. So we had, I mean, we were in the same place as you when we first started. We had a hard time, like, every dollar counted. And I would say it was recently, like this year, we took the leap and made investments in our own skill sets. Like Julia mentioned, we hired a LinkedIn coach this year. We hired a business coach this year. We hired a sales audit funnel person this year. So, like, we have, I don't want to say saved you guys money by bringing all these people on, but we did, I mean, try to think of everything we could potentially do to help everybody build their business and save. So you don't have to hire the attorney to review your contracts. You don't have to hire whoever else. But go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm a CPA and I come from an accounting and finance background. So metrics and return on investment, you could ask my kids and wife. I say it all the time and they're sick of hearing ROI. Everything that was said was right on. The two other things I just wanted to say is, one, what is the opportunity cost? So you can look at everything that's being discussed here, but obviously you have an opportunity cost, and that's just another important angle to look at this and look at how you're going to be building and developing your business. The other thing that hasn't been mentioned is that this is also an accountability, and also I'll say even a little bit of a support group. Julia and I were talking the other day about renewing, because I think it's set up as like a 12-month, or at least initially it was kind of set up as a 12-month curriculum. And my answer was absolutely, because it doesn't really have an ending based on the way it's working. Of course, there's curriculum and you can follow it, you can go back, but it just really flows with the individuals that are in the mentorship program. And to be also very honest and candid with you guys, the reason I'm joining today, while I want to help and support the program because I believe in it, it's really important that we get the right people in that program, because it is, right now, we have got just a great group, a really open, honest, collaborative group of individuals. And that's what makes this extremely special and unique. And so I just wanted to share that, because it's important when you give, you need to give everything consideration, but who you're going to be in, kind of your mates, if you will, in the class are really important as well.
Andrew, we have one more question in the chat. Did either of you supplement income in any way while building the business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was in grad school. I'm married, so I kind of worked it out with my husband as we were getting started, and we knew that it would take about a year to build up. And then Catalina had left her full-time job. She took a remote job for, I don't know, it was maybe 6 months to a year that you were doing that kind of background job, Kat, while we were building up. So yes, we did in that first year. We could have gone right into the job. So I know everyone's in kind of a different place. I'd already quit. I was in my master's degree, which I didn't finish because we started the business instead. And then Catalina had just had her first child. So yeah, everyone's in a different place, and you might be married, not married. You might have savings or not. We had kind of worked out that we had some savings. We were able to do that. And yeah, Catalina did have that part-time job while she was transitioning into full-time. But we have both been full-time for, gosh, I don't even know now, over a year and a half. 18 months probably. We've both been full-time in the business. What we did, and just like one thing I would say, like strategically, we tried to not take any money out of the business for the first few months to let the savings sort of build up in there so that we were able to then take that money and invest it back into growth, things that we wanted to do. But a lot of people don't do that and don't really have to do that. It just depends what you're kind of building long term.
Yeah, and just to clear up that chart we showed, that was all income that was brought in from the business. And so I guess to clear up, everybody's in a different situation, right? Like for me, leaving my foundation job, I was making a lot of money and I was primary breadwinner. So I could not just up and quit my job and just start consulting on the side, just cold turkey. So I had to take a part-time job. It was like a flexible, like a planned giving officer job with a friend that I knew. It was an easy job, quote unquote, so I could pay the bills with that money, but then also focus on building the business on nights and weekends. So that was just my personal situation and what I had to do to make the leap. But everyone's situation is different.
I don't know what we're doing on time here. I don't know if we've got a couple more questions. Tamara, should we do maybe one or two more and then
Yeah,
move
we
on?
just have one more question that's here
Okay.
and then we can move on. Yeah. So what were Kat and Julia doing as consultants to nonprofits before starting the business? Like your service offerings as
Oh,
consultants?
yeah. So we actually still, I mean, we still are. We're not like not consulting anymore. We're running this business, this mentorship in addition to actually doing our own consulting as well. So what we decided to do after we listed out our 30 billion services and that didn't work, we went into mostly CRMs. So I was a development director and I had gone through a CRM migration while I was a development director and realized that's like probably the most painful thing a nonprofit has to do in their development department. And Tamara used to work at Virtuous CRM, so she knows. But so once we realized, hey, this seems to be a common issue that a lot of nonprofits are having, we did the research. We were helping small shops get onto a CRM for the first time and actually helping them clean up their spreadsheets, move them into their database, get the database set up, and then optimizing from there. Yeah, I see a thumbs up. Optimizing from there, and then that would lead into some other kind of retainer services where we'd help them set up the email marketing that would go along with that, having a welcome series after a donation, and all the things that sort of go into that tech stack behind a fundraising program. That's mostly what we've done in the last few years. And that was our was and is our niche. Although as we've been investing in this program, we have not been taking on new clients other than the ones we already have. So just to clarify, we didn't like shut that all down, but we are trying to build this program because it's just been such a great experience. All right, Catalina, we just lose Kat? She's about to show us a demo
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. Let's see.
of the program. While she's pulling that up, any other questions that I can help you guys with in the meantime? We're just going to show you the inside. Our program is hosted in Circle. I don't know if any of you guys have used that before. It's sort of not exactly Slack. It looks a little bit more like a Facebook group, but it's a private community. Here it is. Yeah. So we're just going to take you around a little bit. But sorry, was there any last minute questions before I do that? Tamara, we're good.
Yeah, so this is it's Circle. This is the platform we use to build the mentorship on. We moved recently from a platform called Kajabi, just based on user feedback. So here you can see this is where we store all the on-demand lessons. So these are the weekly calls that Julia runs, and then we record everything and we include all of we've got toolkits, we've got templates, we've got all these different resources to save time. So you can see, we've got like almost 30 hours of content right now, but we've divided the curriculum into business fundamentals, marketing, sales, ops, and client success. And I can pull up like one of
Can I
these.
show them the cost estimation one?
Yeah, this is that one.
Very cool.
So this is just an example of like the call that would be recorded. And then we have all of the resources here on this side. Which one do you want me to pull up, Julia?
Yeah, this
The
was fine.
worksheet?
Just showing them the worksheets over on the right-hand side,
Yeah, let's see if
if it's easy for you to do. So each week, what we do in the calls is we sort of tackle a different problem in marketing sales. I kind of roundhouse it every week. So whenever you start, you'll just join on the call that we're doing that week. Obviously, you have the on-demand content where you can go back and start from the beginning. And then we just have these worksheets that we develop that it just walks you through exactly how to do it. In this case, it's figuring out your hourly rate and then figuring out your project and retainer cost. So costing your jobs and things like that are important. And then that one also came with like an Excel calculator that we developed. So we're really giving you everything that we use to build our business and just putting it into a nice worksheet format.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up this other.
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's fine. We can take them over to the community section.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys can see, but Catalina does this thing where she keeps about 500 tabs open at the top
Oh
of her
yeah,
screen.
one day I'll read them all.
All the things that she wants to read.
So here, like the lesson last week was on lead magnets. We have somebody sharing an idea for a lead magnet. I guess I can pull up one of these here, I think. Here.
Yeah, there, yeah.
So this person in the mentorship, her niche is email, social, anything digital marketing related. And so she's does a lot of, I guess she does small business and nonprofit support. And she's based in Georgia, but we were talking about lead magnets as a way to give out information to capture people for your email list or your marketing efforts, and also just kind of build their trust as giving free information out. So she was giving us ideas, and everybody in the group was giving her feedback. So this is just one example of how the community supports each other.
And it's really nice too, like Andrew was saying before. I mean, we'll always come in here within a few hours, couple, in the day or two and give our professional feedback. But I love seeing everyone else from the group jumping in and saying, oh yeah, I have a bunch of marketing experience. This is what I've done in the past, offering to review things for each other. So again, it grows as the more people join, we get more opinions in the program, which is great.
And this is just showing you, Andrew was mentioning like how valuable the group is. And it's so true. I mean, every member just makes the community so much better, but everybody's doing incredible things. Like we have one person who's based in Texas, and she just opened a physical co-working space for nonprofit people in her area. So instead of having smaller nonprofits pay for rental space for their orgs, she's created this space for them to come, and they pay a monthly fee. And she just did the ribbon cutting, I think 2 weeks ago. So she's doing that. We have, what was another one? We have one person in the program. She's actually based in New Zealand, and she is a tiny house. I think did she build her tiny house?
Yeah. So she was featured on this podcast, which is cool because you're learning about opportunities as well through this. So Danielle was in this podcast, and it's one that, other people can now jump in and apply to. You might want to share introduce yourself just quickly to show just all the different people. I just love seeing where everyone's from. We don't have to go through everyone's names, but we've got people from Louisville, that's Kentucky, and we've got Mississippi. We mentioned New Zealand, Andrew from California, Brandy, Chicago. So we've got people from all over, which is really nice too, just different, unique experiences and skill sets. So there's that. And then you can just see along the left-hand side here under the mentorship, that's where you have on-demand learning, the share and learn section. So that's where people are posting their work. If you want to book a one-on-one with me in my office hours on Wednesdays, and then we have all of our upcoming events, which are usually the Wednesday call, and then the occasional other things are on upcoming events. So that's the community. Any questions about that? I'm not really looking at the chat here. Anything in the chat?
Yes, we have a question about, sorry if I missed this, how many people are in the community today?
I think we have about 15 right now, and based on the interest that we've been getting since we started marketing it in the last, I don't know, month or so, we're expecting we don't want to add more than 10 a month, but we're expecting about 5 to 10 a month for the rest of next year.
Yeah, we just signed up 4 in the past 2 weeks or so. So I think people are starting to get prepared for next year.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing a lot of growth. All All right. So anything else? I think we're good on the community.
Let me just go back to the deck.
Yeah, so just got about 10 minutes left here. Just the nuts and bolts of the program. It's a 12-month program. You join from where you are, whether you've already started or you're just in that planning phase. We meet you where you are at. You immediately get access to the live weekly coaching calls, the individual strategy sessions, on-demand training library, and the community of people. So as soon as you join, you're in that day and you're in for 12 months. And like Andrew said, we are just getting into 1 year on the program. So we are going to be coming out with renewal options for people who are going into year 2. But there's plenty for you to do in that first 12 months. So that is the program. Any just questions about how it works? And we're good. And we just have some really sweet messages here from people that are in the program, just talking about their experience. In the top left, people sharing signing their first client. We've heard from a lot of people who've been in nonprofits for a long time and saying, why have I waited so long to get started? Why didn't I do this 10 years ago? So we love hearing those messages from people saying, just do it. You'll wish you started sooner. It's a great time to be jumping into this kind of field. Just some other nice messages here from Heather. And I like this other one. I think this is also Heather at the top right, just talking about how the program, we had a call about client expectations and kind of like how to get rid of a bad client, because there's this whole process in the beginning where you might sign clients and you think, oh, I'll do anything just to make some money. And then you realize, oh God, I don't want to work with these people. So setting expectations and learning that side of really client management and building a business that you don't grow to hate was a great call we had. And then just going through, Catalina had mentioned this already, but how the curriculum breaks out. And if you wanted to go from point A to point Z, we start with fundamentals. You really would want to go through that content on demand section, months 1 to 2. That's honing your niche, crafting your offer, coming up with a unique value proposition, doing that outreach, network building, info sessions that we take you through. That's really the first 6 weeks is the core of building that out. Then you learn about marketing. That's what we talked about earlier, kind of creating your own audience, attracting people to you, choosing any channels that you want to use. If you do want to go into social media marketing or referrals and things like that, and building a reputation. We get over to sales, which obviously is a very important topic. We spend a lot of time on that, having the right conversation, how to generate leads, how to build a network. And then as you start to land clients, which might be in month 1, it might be in month 3, and you might want to wait and wait for a year. It's really up to you what you want to do. But once you start landing clients, then we get into, okay, how do we streamline those systems, get organized, protect your time? Who is it before who said return on effort? There's a lot of things that you can do. Catalina and I love to yell at each other. Is that a sales generating activity? Are we just kind of messing around? So there's ways you can learn how to protect your time, set up standard operating procedures and things of that nature. Client success, of course, and then we are now developing out that growth phase for people who are at the end of the first year. So we did the demo already.
We did have one question real quick. Question is there a rough percentage breakdown of the types of consulting services people in your program offer? Like example, tech or fundraising, accounting, what kind of?
Yeah. I mean, it's the gamut of, we mentioned Andrew's in accounting, Terry's in direct mail. We've got someone in planned giving, major gifts. I think we have 2 people in major gift fundraising, but one of them's considering actually going more into a strategic planning route. We have people who are also leadership development coaches themselves who run. We have 2 people that are doing marketing and social media branding. Did I miss any? I think that's off the top of my head. And I've seen some really cool ones. I've seen someone who wants to go into like impact photography, doing photography for nonprofits to help them, just really cool stuff. So it definitely doesn't just have to be fundraising. I know I use that as an example a lot because I was in development, but certainly not just a fundraising program. We've seen a lot of different niches and specialties.
We have one person in the program that does disability awareness for museums, like helping them roll out exhibits that are just friendly for neurodivergent and disabled people. So it really, like Julie said, I mean, it can be whatever you want it to be, which is so cool.
One other thing that I think there was a slide earlier about being a solopreneur and just the technology that you learn being out there. I come from kind of a large corporate environment, which we had all kinds of tools, but when you step out on your own, all of a sudden you're having to schedule and organize and project share and do your accounting, all of this stuff. What I've learned in terms of, the tools, AI technology, search engine optimization, all the things that you would need to do by yourself is it's honestly worth the price of admission itself. That's why I was joking. I just sent George a Calendly invite and I stole that from the program. I use it all the time. I'm using it with my family now. And it's a game changer. Just these little things that you just don't think about when you're on your own. So anyways, I had to add that as well.
Thanks, Andrew.
And I just dropped my email and cell in the chat, but I'll reach out to everyone post meeting with just some resources. Many of you I've probably already met with. I see some familiar names and faces, and we can connect deeper to, look at what we can do for you. Like I said, send more resources and help you reach your goals. And if that means coaching and mentorship, we can help work alongside you. But I always like to say, I appreciate what you guys do. I worked in the nonprofit sector for over a decade, and it is a lot of work. I had to leave the nonprofit sector because I was a single mom for a while, and I empathize with being overworked, underpaid, at many of us. So I just want to say I appreciate the work you're doing and excited to see what more impact you can make as a consultant potentially. So
Thanks, Tamara. Yes, so thank you everyone for joining. You've got our information. It's relatablononprofit.com. If you're not on the email list, definitely join there. And if you're ready to join, we'd love to have you. The next call before Thanksgiving is tomorrow. And it would be awesome to have you on board. So Tamara should be reaching out with a little more information after. And thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.
thanks, everybody.
See you guys.
All right.